Hey, what's happening with you and your face? It's a good face. How are you? Hey, look. Oh, watch out. The building's falling. You better duck. Hi. Nick Digilio here. I don't know how to say hi like a normal human being. I'm an idiot. How are you? Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. Almost daily videos. You subscribe, tell your mom, like, subscribe, all that shit you're supposed to do. Check me out on Patreon, which is much more important because you can donate and help keep my stuff going, help me to keep my videos and content coming on a regular basis, and it'll help me to do my podcast separate from this stuff, but it'll help me to keep my podcast going, which I love to do. It's the best thing that's happened to me in a very long time. So if you want to support all the stuff that I do, I would really, really appreciate it. Go to Patreon. It's a great website that helps out artists and performers and people to keep their art going with donations and help, and you get bonuses. More bonuses are coming along the way. You can get exclusive content and videos that are available there, but only if you donate. And there's behind-the-scenes stories about what really happened at WGN and other behind-the-scene radio stories, and more videos that I will do exclusively. No one else can get it. Behind-the-scenes stories of WGN and more. The truth about my firing and all that other nonsense that you've heard. I tell the truth, and I do extra videos just for you if you're a patron. So go to patreon.com/NickDShow. Oh, wait, go now. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Go there, boom. Pick a tier, donate, and you can help me out. It would really, really help a lot. So please, please, go to Patreon. If you're there now, thank you. And if you're a patron, I love you. Patreon.com/NickDShow. My podcast is the Nick D Podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. Great network for podcasts. Check out RadioMisfits.com and subscribe and rate and review and all that cool stuff. Every Tuesday and Friday, new episodes happen. Okay, I'm very excited because my favorite actor ever, personally, I think is the best actor on the planet. He's my favorite actor of all time. He's coming back after some time off. And his name is Jeff Bridges. I think that Jeff Bridges is the most talented actor in the world. He's my favorite actor of all time. And I'm talking in the history of film. He's my favorite actor. And yes, I'm going all the way back to the beginning of film, through all those days where everybody is, talking about their favorite actors of all time, all the way back to the silent era, all the way up until now. I think the best actor that's ever acted in front of a camera is Jeff Bridges. He is the most consistent. He's great in everything. Even when he's in a bad movie, he's good in it. And when he's in a great movie and it's a great role, nobody is better. Jeff Bridges is my favorite actor of all time. I love him, and I will watch him do anything. So, in happy news, he's coming back. He announced that he was diagnosed with lymphoma. He was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago. He announced it in 2020, and I believe his diagnosis happened in like 2019-ish, and then he started treatment and had to stop working. And he has not worked since. His last film role was in Bad Times at the El Royale, which is a great movie that he's great in. But that's the last movie that he was in. It's the last work he did. He took a little time off and then, got sick, had treatments and chemo, and it knocked him on his ass for a long time. He got COVID during this, but he said that COVID was nothing compared to the chemo and the treatments that he had to go through for this very aggressive form of cancer. He documented all of this in a diary that he kept, in videos that he posted, in music that he composed. He's also not only the best actor on the planet, he's an incredible musician, songwriter, singer. His band, The Abiders, I've got to see them live a couple of times. He's an all-around incredible talent musically, as a writer, as a photographer. He's an amazing photographer. His books of photos where he takes pictures on the sets of all the movies that he works on. He started doing it back in the 70s. He uses old cameras with incredible wide-angle lenses. He's an extraordinarily talented artist and photographer, musician, writer, and the best actor on the planet. And he went through this really rough time. He was able to go to his daughter's wedding and dance with her, which he didn't think he was going to be able to do, but he did, which is incredibly important and awesome. And now He's back. He's back to work. I'm getting a little choked up. I'm not kidding. I love Jeff Bridges so much. And for a long time, he was very sick. and I every time I would see updates in his journal or pictures that he took or write songs that he wrote or things like that, just in keeping up with what's been going on with him and this illness for the past few years, anytime something good happened, especially the wedding story where he got to dance with his daughter, moved me. The stuff that Jeff Bridges has provided for me as a moviegoer and as a fan is immeasurable. The pleasure that he's given me, the joy that I've gotten out of watching this man work his craft. I love Jeff Bridges. He's my favorite actor, and I adore him. Well, anyway, he's coming back, and I could not be more thrilled. He's back, his new show. He's going to do his first TV show. He hasn't done a regular TV show. Well, he did Sea Hunt a couple of times with his dad, Lloyd, and he hasn't been a regular or a lead on a TV show ever, and he's not been in television for 50 years. So this is a big deal. He's going to be in an FX series called The Old Man, in which he plays a retired CIA operative who gets sucked back into the game when an assassin is looking for him. Co-stars John Lithgow and other really terrific actors, but he's the lead. Jeff Bridges is the lead in The Old Man, which is a series that is going to premiere on FX. It'll stream on Hulu in June 16th to be precise. So in honor of the great Jeff Bridges kicking cancer's ass, getting back to work, and being the lead in a TV series on the best network, the best cable network on television, because FX, Atlanta, Better Things, What We Do in the Shadows. FX does some of the best. They had Baskets. FX consistently does some of the most creative, most free work on television. And to have Jeff Bridges make a comeback as a lead on a show on FX is fucking celebratory. It's great. So in honor of that, I wanted to count down my top 10 favorite Jeff Bridges performances. There's a lot to choose from. Like I said, he's my favorite actor on the planet. He's my all-time favorite actor ever in the history of movies. And so it wasn't easy narrowing it down to 10 performances and 10 great movies. I had to really agonize over which ones I would choose. Now, he's done his share of bad movies. He's never been bad in anything, though. Sometimes he's a little lazy, and he clearly shows up for the paycheck every once in a while. Doesn't do it very often because he's fucking Jeff Bridges, and he's the best. But he's not, immune from bad movies. Let me just quickly fly down some of the bad movies that Jeff Bridges has been in. Seventh Son, The Giver, R.I.P.D., which I think might be the worst movie he's ever been in, and maybe the worst performance he's ever given. Tron, I know people love it. Tron is shit, and Tron Legacy is even shittier. K-Pax with him and Kevin Spacey, a terrible movie. The Mirror Has Two Faces. He's good in it, but it's Barbra Streisand who couldn't direct Traffic. Sorry, but I know there's a lot of Barbra Streisand lovers out there. Fantastic singer, wonderful performer, really, really terrific singer, a terrible director. And The Mirror Has Two Faces is a bad movie. Nadine, a really terrible romantic comedy with Kim Basinger. King Kong, I have a soft spot in my heart for it, but the best thing in that movie is his beard. But I still love it. I was like 11 when I saw that version of King Kong with Jessica Lange and Charles Grodin. It's really bad, but I still have a soft spot in my heart for it because I loved it when I was a kid. And then Somebody Killed Her Husband, which was a Farrah Fawcett movie. He's been in some other, not great movies, but he's always good in them. But I had to narrow it down to 10. And here are the 10 best Jeff Bridges performance in order of my preference. I'll go from 10 to 1. But before I do, let me rattle off 10 more really quickly. I won't even go into details. The Last Picture Show, he got an Oscar nomination for that. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot with Clint Eastwood, got an Oscar nomination for that. Winter Kills, one of the craziest movies ever made. Heaven's Gate, fuck you if you don't like Heaven's Gate. It's a great film, Michael Cimino. Brilliant movie. Cutter's Way, also known as Cutter and Bone, him and John Hurd. A great performance. Crazy Heart, for which he won his Academy Award, which I didn't include in the top 10. That's how great this guy is that the movie he won his only Academy Award for, he finally won Best Actor, 2009. Well, 2010 he won it, but for the movie Crazy Heart, which he's great in, great songs, great singing, all that stuff. And by the way, all of these performances that I mentioned are great. So in Crazy Heart, he's great. He deserved the nomination. He deserved the award, but it didn't even make my top 10 best Jeff Bridges performances. Arlington Road, an insanely underrated movie with Tim Robbins and Joan Cusack as terrorists, and Jeff Bridges is insanely great in it with a great twist. The Contender, supporting performance, he got nominated for that too. He's great in that, where Joan Allen plays a contender for the presidency of the United States. The Door on the Floor, based on the John Irving book. And Fast Times, as I mentioned, or I'm sorry, Bad Times at the El Royale, which was the last movie that he made, a really great film. So those are 10 more, in addition to some that I didn't even mention. But here are my top 10 favorite, the top 10 best Jeff Bridges performance / movies. And I'll go from 10 to 1, from 10 going up. Number 10, Hell or High Water. From a few years ago, he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that. He's been nominated, by the way, 7 times. He's won once. 7 Oscar nominations, 1 win, and more to come, as far as I'm concerned. See if maybe he can get some Emmys going for the old man. Anyway, Hell or High Water, a terrific movie. Taylor Sheridan wrote it, and it's about 2 brothers who go on a heist, on a spree, a bank robbing spree. And the Texas Ranger who hunts them down with his really cool partner is played by Jeff Bridges. Hell or High Water, number 10 on my list of the best Jeff Bridges performances. Number 9, The Fisher King. He didn't get nominated. He should have. I mean, fucking Robin Williams got nominated for it, and he didn't deserve it. Robin Williams got nominated. Mercedes Ruehl won for Best Supporting Actress. You know, I'll have to tell the Mercedes Ruehl story. I'm going to do that. I'll cut a video just exclusively about I have a very good Mercedes Ruehl story. Very good. So I'll tell that. In fact, I'll do that maybe today. I'll post that one again. Just reminded me I have a personal story with Mercedes Ruehl. Anyway, she won the Academy Award. Fisher King. It's Terry Gilliam's brilliant movie from 1991 in which Jeff Bridges plays this selfish asshole morning zoo DJ guy, very, very successful, very rich guy, kind of patterned after your Howard Sternish kind of thing. Tragedy befalls him. He says something on the air that inspires a maniac to go out and kill a bunch of people, and then he spirals down into a horrible part of his life. He meets a homeless guy played by Robin Williams, and together they go on this adventure to find the Holy Grail. Terry Gilliam directed it. It's a really good movie. I didn't like it very much the first time I saw it. It's grown on me. But, you know, Williams gets nominated. Mercedes Ruehl wins. Amanda Plummer is great. Gets, you know, all kinds of acclaim for it. But the best performance in the movie is Jeff Bridges. He's fucking great in The Fisher King. And despite the fact that Robin Williams got all the nominations and all the praise, the best performance in that movie is Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is amazing in it. Number 8 is Wild Bill, which is Walter Hill's fantastic take on Wild Bill Hickok, with Jeff Bridges in the lead. Alan Barkin played Calamity Jane. It also starred Bruce Dern. It also starred John Hurt. Keith Carradine played Buffalo Bill. And then Walter Hill would go on to be one of the executive producers and direct a couple of episodes of the HBO series Deadwood, David Milch's amazing Deadwood, in which, oddly enough, Keith Carradine played Wild Bill. But in the movie Wild Bill, it's Jeff Bridges. He's amazing in it. Anytime you put Jeff Bridges with a director like Walter Hill, when you put him together with great directors, he's going to do amazing work, as you'll find out, as you'll see. But yeah, working with Terry Gilliam on The Fisher King and working with Walter Hill on Wild Bill, when Jeff Bridges works with quality scripts and great directors like Walter Hill and Terry Gilliam, you're going to get some of the best work you'll ever see. So Wild Bill comes in at number 8. Number 7 is Tucker, Man in His Dream, in which he played the great car designer who designed the very strange Tucker car. It's a period piece about this guy who had a vision, who had an invention, who had a passion, and set it through. And again, working with the great director, Francis Ford Coppola. And as a result, you work with Francis Ford Coppola, you got a good script, you got a solid cast, you got Jeff Bridges working with amazing actors, including Martin Landau and other terrific actors, working with Francis Coppola. It's a terrific movie, a really, really underrated Francis Coppola movie, and a fucking amazing performance by Jeff Bridges. Tucker, The Man and His Dream, number 7 on my list of top 10 best Jeff Bridges performances. Number 6, and I know some people might think this is low, not even in the top 5, Big Lebowski. It's become the quintessential Jeff Bridges role. It's the one that he's most identified with. It's the one that he has embraced the most. He is the dude. When you see him, for years, in talk shows or interviews or anything like that, he's the dude, man. That's kind of Jeff Bridges. He's laid back. He laughs a lot. Don't know how much pot he smokes. I'm sure he has. But he is that guy. He is just that cool, laid-back dude. Another thing you got to love about Jeff Bridges, I don't know why this popped into it, he's been married since 1977 to the same woman. How often does that happen in Hollywood? How often does a beautiful, handsome, leading man, extraordinarily talented, hot actor like Jeff Bridges, that says something about him and his character, I think. He's been married to the same woman since 1977 in fucking Hollywood as a lead actor, as a leading man. Okay? In Hollywood. Doesn't happen, man. Just doesn't happen. And I think that also goes to show you what a class act and what a together guy he is. Anyway, Big Lebowski, everybody knows it. I'm sorry, I did not include it in my top 5. He's great in it. It's a great movie. I love it. It's just not in my top 5. But Big Lebowski, again, the role that he's most known for and most identified with and most beloved, I think, by most people and probably including himself, is the Big Lebowski. Again, put him with great director, and you got that. You put him with Joel Coen. There you go. That's number 6. Number 5 is American Heart, which is a little scene movie with an extraordinary performance by Jeff Bridges. And this one was very close to his heart because he is a real supporter of helping the homeless and helping the hungry. He's given millions and donated a lot of his time and done specials and commercials and done a lot of work for homelessness and for people not being able to eat. He's given millions and millions and millions of dollars and donated a lot of his time, including the paycheck that he made from American Heart, which wasn't a huge paycheck. In American Heart, he plays an ex-con, gets out of jail and tries to reconnect with his teenage son, played by Edward Furlong. Horrible things happen to him. He falls back into the alcohol problems and the drug problems that he had as a convict and lives on the streets and tries to connect with his teenage son. It's a heartbreaking movie, a beautiful movie, underrated and underseen. American Heart, Jeff Bridges, Edward Furlong. If you've not seen this movie, you should. It's an extraordinary film and a great movie. The director of which actually made a documentary about homelessness called Streetwise, which was fucking phenomenal. But this American Heart, an incredible performance by Jeff Bridges. Check it out. That's number 5. Number 4, True Grit. Again, working with the Coen brothers, this time playing Rooster Cogburn with an incredible supporting cast, including Matt Damon. Haley Steinfeld, she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress. He got nominated again for Best Actor. It's the classic story of Rooster Cogburn. It's a remake of the classic John Wayne movie, and guess what? It's fucking better than the John Wayne version. Sorry, I said it. John Wayne got that Oscar for True Grit because he was fucking John Wayne, and they were like, let's give him an Oscar. It's John Wayne never gave a performance that wasn't John Wayne. Even when he played Genghis Khan, he was John Wayne. Fuck John Wayne, and, just anything, whatever. Not a big fan of the John Wayne. I always thought, American icon, yes. Legendary actor, yes. Asshole, unbelievable, yes. But, Rooster Cogburn, the original one, John Wayne made a lot of great movies. He was in The Searchers, great stuff, but he was the same in every movie, and he was an asshole in real life. So the performance that Jeff Bridges gives in the Coen brothers remake of True Grit is tons better, and the movie is better than the original, and he's great in it. It's a phenomenal performance. And personally, I think he deserved that Oscar more than he did for Crazy Heart, but he won the year before, so they weren't going to give it to him twice in a row. But True Grit, number 4. Number 3, The Fabulous Baker Boys. Fabulous Baker Boys is an amazing movie written and directed by Steve Kloves, who would go on to huge success just as the writer of all the Harry Potter movies. But his brother Bo starred in it, and he didn't get nominated for this movie, but he should have. They play 2 sort of lounge singers, dueling piano lounge singers who've been doing this act for a long time. Jack, who's played by Jeff Bridges, the handsomer brother, is like an alcoholic. He doesn't care about his life very much, and they need to change their act, so they bring in a singer played by the amazing Michelle Pfeiffer. And Michelle Pfeiffer is unbelievable in this movie. One of her first, the big breakout role for her. She'd been in stuff before and stuff, but this was the one where it was like she got nominated for it, if I'm not mistaken. I think she did. But Michelle Pfeiffer is incredible in it. Beau Bridges, Jeff Bridges, they're acting together, playing brothers. It really touched on some personal stuff, too, that I think issues that they had as brothers, Jeff Bridges being really classically handsome and Beau Bridges not so much. Beau Bridges was always kind of in the shadow of Jeff Bridges, and they were both kind of in the shadow of their dad for a long time. All of that conflict is brought into the movie. The music is great. Michelle Pfeiffer is amazing. The romance between them is incredible. It is a great performance, a great performance. There's a scene in Fabulous Baker Boys where he goes, lonely guy, just a drunk guy, spends time hanging out with a girl that lives in his building, a little girl that lives in his building. They're friends and they hang out. But he cares most about his dog and drinking and doing whatever he can to just make a buck. He starts to care about life because of Michelle Pfeiffer. He starts to care about everything. There's a scene in the movie where he has to take his dog into the vet, and he wants to pick up his dog, and he's terrified that the dog might be dead because this asshole in a veterinarian office is telling him that he might be, hey, maybe he's expired, whatever. And there's this scene where Jeff Bridges silently is looking down that hallway to make sure that he's going to see his dog. It's one of the greatest scenes that you'll ever see, wordless. He's amazing in that movie. It is one of my favorite performances that he's ever given, number 3 on my list of his best performances. He's charming and funny and really dramatic. It's a beautiful performance. Fabulous Baker Boys. The incredible charisma that Jeff Bridges has, the style of acting that he can do. He can do the method stuff. He can do the real stuff. He can do comedy. He can do anything. That's another thing. He can do anything. Drama, comedy, classical stuff, accents, anything. Jeff Bridges has got range like you couldn't believe. And all of that stuff, including the charming leading man sexy stuff, is on display in Fabulous Baker Boys. And it's a sexy movie. A very sexy movie. You put Michelle Pfeiffer and Jeff Bridges together. Pfeiffers and Bridges, please. Number 2, also got an Oscar nomination, John Carpenter's Starman. Of course, you work with a great director, and there aren't many directors who are greater than John Carpenter. Very, 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 very few. And you get a great performance. You get an incredible co-star like Karen Allen. Charles Martin Smith is in this movie. Starman, great sci-fi movie. He plays an alien who comes down and takes over the shape and the form of a dead husband, of Karen Allen's dead husband, and he takes that guise, and it's kind of like, if you want to say, it's kind of like E.T. They need to get him back to Arizona maybe so that he can get back to his home planet, and it's about this alien that needs to get back where he's from, but a romance begins, and he's this alien who is in this human body. He doesn't know how to work a human body. He doesn't know how to speak, really. He learns how to speak. He learns how to eat Dutch apple pie. He learns what it is to be human, completely alien in the body itself. He doesn't know how to use the body. He doesn't know how to do it, so his body movements are very bird-like. It's a guy who doesn't know how to walk, doesn't know how to talk, and is learning as he goes. He's learning about being a human being. He's learning about human nature. It is an extraordinary movie and an extraordinary performance, physically, mentally. It is also a great love story. It's the most romantic movie that John Carpenter has ever made. Yes, John Carpenter can make beautiful, sincere, very funny, romantic movie. And, there are hilarious segments in Starman, a lot of it generated by his incredible performance. It is a performance where you can watch him do incredible physical, actory work, like the body stuff and the voice stuff. And you can also see him do great human work, where as he becomes more human, he connects more with Karen Allen, and it's one of the most beautiful romances you'll ever see. It's a great performance, a stellar performance, and my second favorite Jeff Bridges performance of all time, Oscar nominated for Starman. Number 1, the best performance that Jeff Bridges has ever given, in my opinion, one of the best performances I've ever seen by any human in any movie. Fearless. Yes, Fearless. A masterpiece. Peter Weir. Again, put Jeff Bridges with a great director like Peter Weir, and you'll get a masterpiece. Fearless is one of my favorite movies of all time. A movie that devastates me every time I see it. I can't watch this movie and during the last 5 minutes not lose my shit. Like sob, like snot, crying, heaving, can't catch my breath. This movie destroys me. There are so many sequences in the movie. He plays a guy who survives a horrible plane crash at the beginning of the movie, and then it affects him and makes him think that he is immune to death, and that he's obsessed with that experience. He can't connect with his wife. He can't connect with his kids. He can only connect with Rosie Perez, who plays a woman on the flight who lost her child in the plane crash, and he can only really connect with her. John Turturro is in it. Tom Hulce is in it. Isabella Rossellini. It's an extraordinary movie on every level. It is a movie about spirituality. It's a movie about metaphysics. It's a movie about the human condition. It's about survival. It's about relationships. It's about life, the hereafter. It's about life here, about life, what's happening after you die. It's about having a life and death experience that completely alters you and your soul and your inner and outer being, and everything and everyone around you is changed by it. It's an extraordinary performance. One of the best performances I've ever seen by anybody ever in a movie. He didn't get nominated for it. Rosie Perez got nominated for Best Supporting Actress. She should have won. Everybody in the movie, top to bottom, is unbelievable. This is a beautiful movie, dramatic, really sad, and really profound and deep and significant and spiritual. Whatever kind of belief that you have in the ether of the world will be challenged, and you'll think about it afterwards. This is a masterpiece. This movie that I'm holding in my hand is one of the greatest movies ever made. Fearless, one of the best movies ever made. And Jeff Bridges, it's his crowning achievement as far as I'm concerned. Not a lot of people agree with that. Everybody would go Big Lebowski or something else. But for me, this is the best performance that this actor has ever given in an extraordinary career. So those are my top 10 with Fearless. If you've not seen Fearless, seriously, prepare yourself for an experience. Prepare yourself to be moved like no other movie has ever moved you, because that's the way I feel when I watch Fearless. I remember it came out in 1993. That and The Piano, they both came out right around the same time. And those two movies in 1993 were movies that profoundly affected me. Spiritually, deeply, emotionally. I was destroyed by both of them. Every time I watch The Piano, I am weeping throughout much of it, sobbing and watching an incredible performance by Holly Hunter. And the same holds true for Fearless. Those two, and I was dating the same girl at the same time. I think she thought I was a psycho because we saw those movies together and we both lost our shit. And I remember it was a very intense month of movie going when Fearless and The Piano were in the theaters at the same time. But obviously, so if you haven't seen The Piano, please. But Fearless, best performance by Jeff Bridges, one of the greatest movies ever made, a movie that works on every singular level and that will move you to the point where you will question your own existence. That's how fucking good Fearless is as a movie, and that's how unbelievable Jeff Bridges is in that performance. One of the greatest performances of all time. Again, let me fly down the top 10. 10 to 1. Number 10, Hell or High Water. Number 9, The Fisher King. Number 8, Wild Bill. Number 7, Tucker, The Man in His Dream. Number 6, The Big Lebowski. Number 5, American Heart. Number 4, True Grit. Number 3, Fabulous Baker Boys. Number 2, Starman. Number 1, Fearless. And that's just 10, because there are dozens and dozens of more movies that he's great in, as I've mentioned. He's always good. He's never bad. He's the best actor on the planet. I could not be more thrilled with the fact that he's back to work, that he'll be on FX in a show called The Old Man in June, and the fact that he kicked cancer's ass and he's coming back to work. Jeff Bridges, my favorite actor in the world, and I hope that I've given you some suggestions for movies that you should watch. And welcome back, Jeff Bridges. You've been missed.